Hi. So, hi everyone. Elisa is with me, so I'm going to present myself, and then Elisa is going to take it from there. So again, my name is Keren. I am very, very excited to see you all. I see the number 312 people. This is absolutely amazing to take all of you on one plane to Israel. So Elisa, you're going to take it, and we're going to fly all the way here, and you're coming to visit me here. So Elisa, it's yours. There you go. So we're going to America. Let's find America. Now we're flying into Israel. You can actually see the four dots. You can see Tveria up north. You can see Zichron Yaakov next to the Mediterranean Sea. Sorry. You can see Jaffa next to Tel Aviv, also next to the Mediterranean Sea. And then in the middle, you can see another blue dot, which is Jerusalem. So these are the places that we're going to visit today. So Elisa, let's land. Let's land in Ben Gurion Airport. It's kind of empty right now, so it will be a quick exit for us. I hope that you took your passports. I hope that you took your bags. I promise you good coffee on the way to the bus. Now we are exiting to the bus. It was the best, fastest flight ever. Now after you grabbed your coffee to go, we are driving again about 2.5 hours to the Sea of Galilee, to the Kinneret. And this is the hotel/museum Dana Gracia. That are unbelievable, amazing women that made the change in Israel. And one of them was not in Israel ever, but she did affect the history of Israel. And 3 of them were born here in Israel, which is absolutely amazing. 2 of them are still alive and still sharing their wisdom with us. So you can't go to Israel without go to the Bible first. So who is the woman that I want to mention her name? This is Deborah. Deborah, she was a judge, she was a prophet, she was a woman leader that basically swiped a lot of people behind her. Tveria is one of 4 holy cities in Judaism. So we have Tveria, we have Tzfat, Yerushalayim, and of course Hebron. But we are going to go into Tveria first, which sits next to the Sea of Galilee. If we landed in Ben Gurion Airport and we got on the bus, we drove at least 2.5 hours in order to get to the Sea of Galilee. And over there, we're going to meet Dana Gracia. However, you're not going to meet her because she built a few important things in Tveria, but she never came here. So who is Dana Gracia? You can see Dana Gracia Mendez Nassi. She was born in Lisbon, Portugal, 1510. She was born actually with another name, Beatriz de Luna. Maybe it sounds not Jewish because until she became bat mitzvah, she was sure that she is Christian and not a Jew. They needed to hide their Judaism, and obviously she didn't know that she was Jewish. Only at her bat mitzvah, they told her that she is Jewish. Then she understood that her name is Dana Gracia Mendez Nassi. And then when she became 18, believe it or not, she got married with her uncle, Francisco. And he was 30 years older than her, very, very wealthy. He made his money from black pepper. And after 8 years, unfortunately, he passed away. And he left Dana Gracia Nassi only with his money and a daughter, a young daughter. So she needed to leave. And why? Because you can see next to Dana, you can see her sister. So you probably think, okay, sisters, they are probably good friends. Unfortunately, her sister got into inheritance fight. She wanted the money that Dana Gracia's husband left her. And why? Because her sister was married to Francisco's brother. So that fight came to the table of a lot of rabbis, even Rabbi Yosef Karo, that you probably know his name from Tzfat, and she needed to run away. So Dana Gracia is running away to Venice, And over there, she's hiding. Unfortunately, her sister, that you can see next to her, her sister told on her that she is a secret Jew. We call it today crypto Jew. Dana Gracia fled to Ferrara after she was a little time in jail. She fled to Ferrara, which is a small city in Italy, and over there she finally could go back to her Judaism. She finally go back to her name, the Jewish name, Nasi, and then you can see it says Biblia, Bible of Ferrara, which is a Bible that was translated into Ladino. Ladino is a mix of Yiddish and Spanish, and she gave the money. Not only that, she also gave the money in order to save Jews that ran away from Spain and Portugal. So from there, she needed to run away, and you need to understand that even as the richest Jewish woman in the world, she knew her limits as a rich person, as a Jew, because she was Jewish. So only when she left to Istanbul, and now take a look at the picture on the left side, the black and white picture, only when she left to Istanbul, only then, when she met Great Suleiman. Now, probably you heard that name before, but because Great Suleiman is the one that built the walls around Jerusalem, the walls that you still see today, he had a foreign affairs minister, and he was a Jew. That person, that man, is Dana Gracia nephew. Now stay with me, it's like a soap opera. So he got married with Dana Gracia daughter. So now Great Suleiman is looking at Dana Gracia, which is a very wealthy woman. Her daughter is married to his person, and now they can do business together. So Dana Gracia is asking to lease Tiberias, Tveria, from Great Suleiman, and then when she takes the money to Tiberias, to Tveria, she is building walls, and you can see the walls that are built around Tiberias. Today, this is, by the way, an amazing picture of the Sea of Galilee today that is completely full, like it used to be 30 years ago. So you can see the walls of Tiberias, of Tveria. She built it in order for the Jews to have a shelter. Her plan was to bring Jewish men and women from Spain and Portugal to Tveria and to let them live over there. So not too many people came with her plan. Even though she had this amazing vision, they didn't come, but she was ready to save those Jews. Unfortunately, she passed away when she's 59. She didn't have a chance to see her dream fulfilled. But before that, before I'm going to the end of the story, take a look at this. This is a group of teachers from a school in Israel. Those teachers came to Dana Gracia Museum/Hotel in Tveria in order to study about Dana Gracia. And what they do, they get dressed like they used to get dressed in Spain and in Portugal, and to learn about Dana Gracia, and then later on to teach the kids in school. So who is this man that started all of that? His name is Yaakov Amsalem. He was a pilot in the army, and he said that he believes that Dana Gracia is telling him what to do, basically. So she told him in his dream to build a hotel and to build a museum and to teach people about her. So before we're saying goodbye, why Dana Gracia is so important? She had a vision. She followed her vision. Even though she's a woman, she's a Jew, in the time that you're not really allowed to show your Judaism, she basically couldn't care less. She gave her money, she gave her time, and she saved thousands of Jews. Not only that, she, 300 years before Binyamin Ze'ev Herzl, she said Zionism. She talked Zionism, even before no one knew what it is. 300 years before Baron Rothschild bought land to the people of Israel, to the Jews in Israel, she came and bought land in the land of Israel. So she basically was, we can say, an announcer to Zionism and for lands for the Jews. Do we have Elisa? Okay, so I will continue. Okay, so I'm going to later on we'll fly. So I'm going to continue to Zichron Yaakov. So we have about an hour and a half drive from the Sea of Galilee to Zichron Yaakov. Now from here we're going to drive about an hour to Zichron Yaakov. Here Elisa is going to take us, maybe a little bit underwater. And we're driving straight into Zichron Yaakov, and we landed in Zichron Yaakov. So now, between the two trees on the right side, you can see that there is a house. We just entered. It is the easiest flight ever to Israel, you're right, Linda said. So now we entered the private house / museum of Aaronsohn family. That gives you an idea who is the next hero, who is the next Wonder Woman that we're going to talk about. So we're going to purchase our tickets, and now I'm going to take it away. I'm going to answer questions at the end. I see your questions, but I'm going to answer at the end. I'm going now to go back to Zichron Yaakov, and here we are. So Zichron Yaakov, cute little town, overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. The picture on the right side, that's the hotel, one of the luxury hotels in Zichron Yaakov. And now I'm going to go in. Guys, this is the promenade of Zichron Yaakov. By the way, Zichron Yaakov, Zikaron is the memory, Yaakov is Jacob. Jacob is Baron Rothschild's father. Baron Rothschild bought the land on the top of Mount Carmel at 1886. And he is the one that started the city with Jews from Romania that came to sit on the top of the mountain. Today it looks like that, but I want to show you how it used to look 1912 and today. So if you look on the right side, 1912, on the right side of those two boys, this is where we're going to meet our next Wonder Woman. Her name is Sara Aaronsohn. She is absolutely gorgeous. And let's talk about Sara. Who is she? So Sara was born in Israel under the Turkish regime. So think about that. We stopped with Dana Gracia, who was here under the Turkish rule. Well, she wasn't here, but she was with Great Suleiman. And then we have, 400 years later, we have Sara that is born here still under the Turks' rule. And she was born here in Zichron Yaakov, in the house that you're going to see. She was born here to two parents from Romania. She had 5 brothers and sisters, and she studied in school until the age of 13. What amazing is that after she was done with school, she taught herself 5 different languages. She taught herself how to ride a horse and how to shoot a gun. All of that basically prepared her for life. She didn't really know what she's going to do in the future, but when she was 23, her mother passed away, and that actually led her to the next thing. She got married. So when she's 24, she got married to a Jew from Bulgaria, Chaim Avraham. Sarah is in the middle, so 1914 she's getting married. She left Israel with her husband to Istanbul. So we're going back to Turkey. So while she is with her husband in Istanbul, things didn't really get along, and she decided she wants to come back. Because she was a woman, she was not allowed to travel alone. She was lucky to meet someone that by chance came back to Israel. She's hopping on the train with him, and then 3 weeks later, she's entering Israel. Just a personal note. Yesterday, I met my grandmother, who is 99. She came from Turkey, and she took the same exact train, like Sara Aaronsohn, from Istanbul to Israel. So, hey, grandmother. So, Sara saw on the way, she saw how the Turks are killing in masses Armenians along the way. She understands that if she will not do something to basically kick out the Turks from the land of Israel, they will do exactly the same for the Jews here. So she came back here. She has a meeting with her brothers and sister, and they decided together that they're going to start a spy net. So the name of the spy net will be Nili. Netzach Israel lo yeshaker. That's the quote from the book of Samuel. And their job, their mission, their task is to collect information about the Turks and send it to the Brits. So they will defeat the Turks and they will let the Brits come in. What kind of information? We're talking about numbers of soldiers. We're talking about locations, the amount of weapon. She even went to parties in order to dance with Turkish commanders and to get more information. But you can see her husband. During that time, she decided not to stay with her husband at all. He's on the left side. And on the right side, the one that she is hugging is Avshalom. Avshalom was engaged to her sister, but Sarah is in love with Avshalom. I told Janine 2 days ago that if you read the book about Avshalom, you will fall in love with him in a second. And Sarah, of course, fell in love with him. And he's one of the leaders of Nili, of the spy net. When Avshalom went missing, later on they found his body in Egypt. When Avshalom went missing, Sarah is taking control of the spy net. And what they do now, they sent the information with homing pigeons. So just in case that you haven't seen a pigeon in your life, here you go. This is a homing pigeon with information that is being sent to the Brits. Unfortunately, one of them one day was sick or tired, and she stopped in Caesarea. Caesarea, today gorgeous site to visit, but back then it was the house of the Turkish rule, and he was standing outside feeding his pigeons. Unfortunately for that pigeon, she stopped at his courtyard. He saw that she has something attached to her, and he understood that this is information that is going to the Brits. They're starting to look for the spy net. On the same time, another member of the spy net, Nili, is being caught with a list in his pocket of all the names and addresses of all the people in the group. Very soon, Sarah understands that they are coming for her. So now we're going for a walk. So we are going into the house, okay? We are now inside the original house of Aaronsohn family. Sarah was tortured for 3 days. She understood that they're going to hang her in Damascus. She's asking the Turkish soldier, to take a bath before they're leaving to Damascus. She took out the gun that you saw from the secret hiding place, and now the soldier is with her. So she says to him, wait, do you want to take a shower with me? And he said, no. And then she entered the bath, and she shot herself in the bath. Why? Because she knew that if she will stay alive longer, there is a good chance that they will take out the information from her. And she preferred not to give any information. This is a picture from 1945 when a youth group is coming to give respect to Sarah. Sarah is on the right side. Her mother is on the left side. This is, of course, in Zichron Yaakov. Sarah, until today, years later, is being respected as stay in that moment for a second. A woman, a Jew, very young woman, and she's being a spy. She's going to dance with Turkish commanders in order to get information. Today, if you will ask people in England, researchers, they will say that she helped with that information. It helped General Allenby, to get into Israel easily, even with the numbers of soldiers and even with the sources of water, how to get into Israel. So now we're leaving Zichron Yaakov. Elisa, you're going to take us with the bus to Jaffa. It's a short drive. Well, not lately. Lately it became very busy. The streets are busy again. And it will take us about 45 minutes to drive from Zichron Yaakov to Jaffa, which is right next to Tel Aviv. So you can see the Mediterranean Sea again, and we came into Jaffa, Old Jaffa. Old Jaffa is one of the nicest places in Israel, and now I'm going to go back with you, and this is it. Look at that. So Jaffa is 4,000 years old. It makes you smile, even though I was there, a few weeks ago. It makes me smile because look at that view. Jaffa is 4,000 years old. The port is one of the oldest ports of Israel. And now we're going to talk about Ruth. Why Jaffa? Because the store Maskit is in Jaffa. So we're going to go there. Don't worry. Ruth. That's interesting because Sara Aaronsohn was buried 1917. Ruth Dayan, to the house of Schwartz family, she was born 1917 in Haifa, not too far away from Zichron Yaakov. And Ruth Dayan, well, let's call her Ruth Schwartz for the beginning. Ruth was born in Haifa. She really wanted to study agriculture, and that's why she is moving to Nahalal, which is a small moshav in Israel, Emek Israel, in Jezreel Valley. And over there she says, she's writing in her diary. I'm not going to skip to the next picture because I wanted to hear before. She wrote in her diary, I am committing myself to study. I do not want to mess with boys anymore. I want to be a good student. And then look what happened. On the same exact night, she went to the bonfire and she met her husband-to-be. She met Moshe Dayan. Guys, this is a rare picture of Moshe Dayan without an eye patch. So she met Moshe Dayan at the bonfire. They fell in love, and a year later, they got married. So Moshe Dayan is a warrior for Israel before Israel was established. We're talking about 1935. Moshe was arrested and he was put in jail in Akko by the Brits. When he was released, meanwhile, their daughter, Yael, was born. Yael, by the way, is still alive. Ruth is still alive. He joined the army again. He lost an eye, and this is the picture that you all know of Moshe Dayan. Meanwhile, they have two more boys, Asi and Udi. Asi and Udi are no longer alive. They passed away recently. And Moshe is in the army. Meanwhile, Ruth, while they live in Jerusalem, she became an agriculture guide. She's working for new immigrants that are coming from all over the world. She saw that those immigrants are working with art, and that was absolutely amazing art. And she says, okay, I'm going to put aside agriculture, and I'm going to take that art, and I'm going to do something that will benefit those new immigrants. She's taking an old Jeep, barefoot, with a gun in her hand, and she's driving to different places in order to look for more and more artists. So this is one of them. This guy from Yemen, still alive, he is 93 years old today. He works in Jaffa, he has a store in Jaffa, and this delicate job that you see on the delicate jewelry that you see, this is what she wanted. And he worked with her. He actually said a few years ago that Ruth Dayan saved his life because she gave him a job. So now, Ruth Dayan, she opened a store named Maskit. Maskit, by the way, in Hebrew means decoration. She opened a store named Maskit in Tel Aviv, 1954. This is, by the way, the store. Golda Meir, who was the Minister of Labor, she helped Ruth Dayan to make this store a company. And guys, you need to understand that she gave 2,000 different workplaces. That's a lot for new immigrants. And she's working on that in order to give more and more jobs. Who are the people? We're talking about Yemen, Bulgaria, Jews, Bedouins, like the one on the right side, Bedouin art. And just to give you an idea, I'm going to go into a movie that will give you a little bit more. So there you go.
During its days, Mesquite was as an Israeli as Falafel. representing the melting pot that stood at the core of young Israel. It sought to fuse cultures, nationalities, and ethnicities of immigrants from various countries of the diaspora into one unified style. Maskit accessorized homes and enabled women to dress up stylishly during the first decades of statehood when import was banned. It created the highbrow of the Israeli taste. Its story began shortly after the foundation of the State of Israel. It was a governmental company that produced rugs, jewelry, and fashion, providing employment to newly arrived immigrants by allowing them to practice the crafts of their own heritage. It was Dayan who discovered the skills for embroidery, knitting, wood carving, and silversmithing among immigrants who arrived to Israel in the 50s and founded Maskit, with the support of Minister of Labor Golda Meir. For over 4 decades, it emerged as the most ambitious platform of Israeli design, manifesting in a genuine style.
So I'm going to this. You can probably recognize that this is the eye patch. So what's the story? I'm going back to 1967. 1967, Moshe Dayan is the Minister of Defense. And Ruth Dayan tells the story today. She said, I went to visit 5 Palestinian women in Nablus. When I came back home, Moshe was sitting at the table for dinner, and he said, Ruth, I do not like the fact that I am putting those Palestinians in jail as the Minister of Defense, and you are finding them a job. Ruth said, on that moment, I understood that our path is no longer together. Along the side with the fact that he had a lot of lovers, she said, Moshe, I'm going to divorce. I want to get divorced. So after 37 years of marriage and 3 kids, Ruth divorced Moshe. He got married with his lover. She did not get married again, and she's still with us today. And this is the original eye patch of Moshe Dayan that she's holding. So I'm going to take you to our time today, to the store in Jaffa. So you will see me walking over there. We're entering the path in Old Jaffa. These are 200 years old buildings. The store Maskit. So there are a few of them in Israel, but this is the one that I love the most. Original birds. And this is inside. So if we started with a store, small store in Tel Aviv, that is giving jobs to new immigrants, today this dresses cost over $2,000. Imagine to yourself. So Ruth Dayan, and I'm going to sum up Ruth Dayan over here. Ruth Dayan today is working mainly with non-profit organizations. Maskit became a private-owned company, very stylish, high-end fashion house. And she, if I'm going back for a second, and I'm thinking of Ruth at the beginning of Israel, when everyone thought that you have to work the land in order to start the new state, she said, no, I can do something else. I can take people that are talented and to give them other jobs, not only in agriculture, because maybe they're not really good with that. So she gave jobs to those people that needed those jobs. So we're going to say goodbye to Jaffa. And Elisa, this is yours to take us to Jerusalem. So we're going about an hour to Jerusalem, and just to remind you what's in Jerusalem. We have the Western Wall. Today, it's starting to people are starting to get back to the Western Wall, but we are going to be outside of the old city. We are going to go to the Supreme Court at the entrance to Jerusalem, and we're going to talk about Esther Hayut. Esther Hayut, Justice of the Supreme Court of Israel, started at October 2017. She will finish at October 2023. And Esther Hayut was also born in Israel, and she was born in Herzliya, October 1953. October is a good month for her. So she was born on October 1953 in Herzliya, next to Tel Aviv. Her parents, Holocaust survivors, and her father actually left them when she was very, very young. And he left to London, and she never saw him again. When she was a little bit older, her mother got married again, and they moved to Eilat. Eilat is all the way down south, next to the border with Egypt. When Esther joined the army, she actually joined a military band, music band. And she was so good. She was an amazing singer. And everyone thought that Esther is going to be a singer, you know, in real life, not only in the army. But she decided to do something else. You can see Esther in the middle. She decided to go to law school in Tel Aviv. In that law school in Tel Aviv, she met her husband, David. Today they have 2 sons. And she climbed the ladder, slowly but surely. She climbed the ladder all the way to what we see today. But before that, she became a judge. Of course, before that, she was a lawyer. She was also the chairperson of the committee of the elections for the 20th Knesset. And today, she is, we can say, probably the strongest woman in Israel. I was looking for, actually before that, because she's a singer, she loves to combine poems in her verdicts. So it's really nice to hear when she's reading a verdict. She's suddenly there's a poem in it. Yehuda Michai, the poet that was born in Jerusalem. She loves to use him. And I was looking for something personal to talk about Esther Hayut. And then while I was looking at her verdicts, I found Golden Family. Now, 2 days ago when I spoke with Janine, we found out that we have personal connection, me and you. So for me, Golden Family, their oldest daughter is one of my best friends. And then Janine said, you know that Hadar Golden, the person that I'm going to talk about in a second, Hadar studied in Kfar Batya, in Ra'anana, which is Amit school. So here's the connection for you as well. So Hadar Golden, Hadar is, he was an officer in the army during Protective Edge, the operation in Gaza. On the last day of the ceasefire, Hadar Golden was kidnapped by the Hamas, and he was killed by the Hamas. The Hamas is holding his body until today. So why I'm telling you that? Because on September 2019, Esther Hayut, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Israel, she came with the decision that if we want to get back bodies of our soldiers or even live people that the Hamas is holding, we need to hold bodies of terrorists in Israel. And she said that this is okay, and we can do that. We can hold terrorist bodies in Israel. So this is Golden Family. The other story is Itai and Yoav Pinkas Arad, and this is from March 3rd, 2020. 10 years decision that was changed by Esther Hayut. The decision was before that gay couples are not allowed, so gay couples will be allowed only to adopt babies, and they are not allowed to have a surrogate mother. Esther Hayut changed the decision, and from starting 3 months ago, gay couples are allowed to have surrogate mother in order to have their own baby. And I'm going to go to the last story, which is April 2020. You know that we had elections. Last time the elections were on March, three months ago. And the decision that Esther Hayut needed to take was whether the Prime Minister Netanyahu, who had 4 different cases against him, is he allowed to form a government, yes or no? And the decision was that he is allowed. to form a government, and he did. The 35th government is now on, and if she would say no, we would probably go to 4th elections in a year. We are going to go now into the Supreme Court as a tourist. You are allowed to go in, and we're going to travel inside the Supreme Court.
In the library and elsewhere in the building, law and justice are represented by geometric shapes inspired by biblical metaphors. The straight line, which symbolizes a direct path, represents the concepts of law and truth, as in Psalms chapter 119, verse 137, "Your laws are straight." The concept of justice is represented by circles found throughout the building and expressed in Psalms chapter 23, verse 3. "He leads me in the circles of justice for the sake of his name."
So before we finish with Esther Hayut, I want to say one last sentence about Esther. Why we chose her as a Wonder Woman? She, against all odds, with Holocaust survivor parents, with a father that was not there, with a completely another career, she decided that she's going to be one of the leaders of Israel. And today she, slowly climb up the ladder, and she's one of the strongest women in Israel that today is standing in front of the Prime Minister Netanyahu. And I'm going to finish with 3 recommendations for books. You can write it down. I can send Janine the link. One is about Dana Gracia, one is about Sara Aaronsohn, and one is about Ruth Dayan. All of them you can find on Amazon. And thank you very much for listening. I'm going